Our American troops are getting attacked while the White House is busy celebrating Thanksgiving. And no, it's not fake news. This isn't a make-believe story just to create tension. This actually happened, folks. And apart from that, we could be seeing a deal made very, very soon when it comes to the hostages that Hamas holds right now. And I got a pretty chilling update from Iran, so it's best that you guys watch until the end.
Overnight, U.S. forces in the Middle East attacked for the 59th time last month.
That's right. Kurdish officials say an armed drone targeted an airbase in northern Iraq. It is unclear if anybody was hurt at this point.
I've been saying for a long, long time, we have a lot of obligations as a government. We only have one truly sacred obligation, and that's to prepare those who we send into harm's way, care for them and their families when they come home, and make sure they're never forgotten. You literally are, it's not hyperbole, you literally are the backbone, the spine, the sinew of this nation. Only 1% of you, and it's important to keep in mind, 1% of you, that's all, protects the 99% of us, 1%. And the sacrifices you make, not just those in uniform, to those who are not in uniform.
At this point, guys, you have to wonder, does he even care about our troops overseas? Is he not being informed about these attacks? But maybe that's it, huh? Maybe he's not aware that our forces are being attacked, probably as we speak right now. Another possibility that others have opened up is that the president is aware of what's happening, but that he doesn't want to escalate the already tense situation. So which is it? Is the president holding back because he doesn't want to escalate the war even further? Or is this a sign of weakness? I want you guys to think about it. So comment 1 if you believe that the president is showing restraint and trying to de-escalate the situation by not pushing back even harder. And comment 2 if you think that he's, as the critics are saying, a weak president. And while you guys are at it, make sure to drop a like to the video. I totally appreciate that. And if you want to get the truth on stuff that matters to you 24/7, then make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications so you don't miss out. Appreciate that, guys. So, all right, getting back on track with this entire situation that we have going on overseas, it's very clear that the White House has taken a somewhat cautious approach, although that doesn't seem to be the case for what's actually happening here at home. You see, we've seen plenty of protests since this war began. Brooklyn, San Francisco, Boston, Chicago. Problem is, though, they seem to be becoming even more aggressive as time goes by.
Tensions over the Israel-Hamas war boiling over into clashes. Pro-Palestinian protesters calling for a ceasefire, clashing with police in front of the Democratic National Committee headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Ceasefire now! Ceasefire now!
Videos posted to social media show protesters standing with their arms interlocked, blocking the DNC doors as they get into a shoving match with police. Dozens of Democratic politicians, including House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, were inside the building. Capitol Police say about 150 people gathered were illegally and violently protesting, which resulted in 6 officers being treated for injuries, including minor cuts, pepper spray, and being punched. While event organizers say at least 100 demonstrators suffered injuries after they were pepper sprayed and pushed by police.
And you came here tonight to say, as Democrats, you need to listen to what the Democratic base is demanding. 80% of Democrats are demanding a ceasefire.
While that's happening, more attacks are taking place against our U.S. bases overseas, with one of the latest ones actually hitting a U.S.-occupied air base in Iraq. And it's being reported that back-to-back drone attacks have hit their targets at the air base. But as of the recording of this video, I don't have an accurate report as to the damage that they've inflicted. All we know is that they've hit this particular area. Now, when it comes to ceasefires, we know very well that the White House has asked for pauses in the war. But there seems to be some good news, as Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, he recently announced that they're getting closer to releasing hostages that have been captured by Hamas.
So, John, let's delve into the details of this breaking news. NBC News has confirmed, based on conversations with 2 sources who are familiar with the negotiations, that they are closing in on a potential deal to release some of the hostages in exchange for a pause in the fighting. How close are they to a deal? What can you tell us?
Well, what I can say at this point is that some of the outstanding areas of disagreement in a very complicated, very sensitive negotiation have been narrowed. that I believe we are closer than we have been in quite some time, maybe closer than we have been since the beginning of this process to getting this deal done. And we are following this minute by minute, hour by hour, and have been for a number of weeks, up to and including the president, for whom this is a major priority, as you just heard. But at this point, we really need to adhere to the mantra that nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. Sensitive negotiations like this can fall apart at the last minute. So we're not going to outline all the details of what is still being discussed.
This is good news, right? But of course, we got to look at all the sides of the coin here. But the question is, what's going to be given back in return? Will the U.S. have to give something as well? Because of course, they're not going to give us any details, but I think it's a fair question to ask, right? You see, the UN, the United Nations, they're saying that Israel only approved half of what is needed daily to provide water and power to Gaza in what can only be called as a humanitarian crisis. But yeah, I'm just asking questions here, all right? Because you and I are very well aware that the Biden administration is willing to treat this war like the new Ukraine. I mean, am I wrong to think that? It's like the same scenario, but less control over what's happening, or at least that's what it seems like. This is possibly the reason why President Biden is instead sending a message to Hamas as Israel's Netanyahu doesn't want to listen to him. The message is clear. Release all hostages, give up your weapons, and surrender the people responsible for the attack on Israel that took place on October 7th, reiterating that a ceasefire is not the peace that people want. However, and I don't mean to alarm anybody here, I think that the president should really be wary about what Iran is doing right now. You see, they recently announced a new hypersonic missile, and for those of you guys who might not be aware of just how fast this thing is, it's going like 3.2 miles per second, which is like Mach 15.
An unveiling ceremony more than 6 months in the making. High-ranking officials watch as the Revolutionary Guard's Aerospace Division displays what Iran says is its first domestically produced hypersonic ballistic missile. Named Fatah, the missile has a range of 1,400 kilometers and a speed of more than 15,000 kilometers an hour. That's more than 12 times faster than the speed of sound. It's able to change direction rapidly and avoid most defense systems by traveling outside the Earth's atmosphere. President Ebrahim Raisi explained why Iran has developed such a weapon.
It is for deterrence. We build this missile so that our enemies don't even think about any acts of aggression against us. This unveiling has a message of security for all in the region, not just Iran. People should know the level of security in the entire region has increased.
And again, for anybody that's curious, Iran says that these missiles, they have the capability to bypass most of our anti-ballistic missile systems, meaning that if they let one of these loose into the United States, then there's probably not much we can do. Although I doubt that, since I'm pretty sure that the US is hiding a secret weapon somewhere, maybe even an Iron Man suit for all I know. But it's a little bit unnerving to hear that a country like Iran threatens us with hypersonic missiles. So what are you guys' thoughts on this? Could these hypersonic missiles have a nuclear warhead on them? Should this be legitimate cause for concern? Or should we just trust that the administration has everything under control? Make sure you guys let me know in the comments down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for your time. Keep safe, and I'm gonna see you guys on the next one.